to make that move sorted. You got 4 wide in the back. Look at this.
That's not going to work.
You got Jeros, you got McGrauther, you've got everyone there copping it in, and they will funnel themselves out. That is what Watkins Glen's all about. 4 wide heading into the carousel.
Styles seems to think so. He looks to the inside, coming down into Brooklands. He's got the apex, but he doesn't have the right-hander into left field. This is going to be tough to complete it. A nose starts to pull ahead, and does the Lamborghini have enough grunt beneath it? It's hard to say yet. Now through Woodcote, this carries on, DJ.
It carries on, and they're going to go side by side into Cops. Here they come, waiting to see who's going to make it work. It is the Porsche that's able to pull it out. A great move, but here comes the fight back. This isn't done yet for the Demon Tweaks car. They're going to try to go around the outside here of Maggots.
And Jack Styles sends it in deep, and that is going to get him into third.
Tries to set him up here down the straightaway into Tarzan.
Look at the immediate defense, but now he's a little weavy there, and he's going to have to give him the outside way deep into the corner. Lotfula somehow makes it. He wasn't quite on the apex, but that's the pass done for the 22.
It's looking very good. Simo's going to try to tuck up behind in the draft. He's going to have to really send it here down into the Firestone turn, and send it he does down to the inside, but that's going to be a little bit of a fight back there from Pablo, but Pablo has to give up the ghost.
Nobody able to make the overtake until now, as Mickey goes wide, forces himself to have to cover off the inside once again. Andy Fox trying the long way around, which is going to switch back to the inside. First change of the lead in some time as they elbow each other out of the way, and Andy Fox is your new leader. It's going to be 2 positions down. Oh no, they tangle. Mats Anderson coming together. Another little hello from Mickey. He did not like that. Now that we've made it a fifth of the way through the season, the pecking order is becoming more clear. But with so many rounds, consistency will no doubt be just as important as speed. However, because Barcelona is not often touted for promoting side-by-side racing, will today's qualifying make one-lap pace a deciding factor? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 6 of the Porsche Owners Club Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Barcelona offers a lot of corners, but not a lot of places to pass. Let's head to our track guide to learn more. Welcome to Circuit de Barcelona. The home of the Spanish Grand Prix for nearly 30 years, it's easy to forget that this is a relatively recently built track in Europe. It's known for its long, sweeping corners and hosts the highest level of open-wheel and motorcycle racing. Placing an emphasis on a good aerodynamic setup with high downforce cars, it's often overlooked that it offers plenty of overtaking for lower-tier racing as well. In fact, most don't take into account that this adaptable track has 5 different layouts to choose from. These range from the nearly 3-mile-long Grand Prix version to the minuscule 1-mile club circuit. Because of the pit straight being the longest acceleration zone, Elf is the most likely spot for drivers to get a pass done. After that, your next hope might be into Lakaja, which, depending on which layout you use, could be a sharpened set of 2 turns or one long hairpin with an opening radius. In the early 2000s, a chicane was added close to the end of the lap, but the old Europe car corner can still be run. The Spanish fans have some gorgeous views from the many hills dotted along the track. And with the international fame this place has built over time, it's no wonder they're almost always full come race day. Well, DJ, with these GT3R cars around here, I imagine it's going to be a little better than what we typically see for F1, but still, that's a twisty one out there.
Yeah, it certainly is, Joe. Overtaking is not exactly going to be at a lot here. The only 2 real areas that I think you're going to be able to see it get done are going down into Elf, that first corner, and off of the backstretch going down into Lakaja. From there on out, there are opportunities to overtake, but they're all going to be at the expense of your other drivers. And really, to get a good run down into Elf, you need to nail that final chicane and be able to get the power down through New Holland. That's going to be very, very important. Watch also for an incident or 2 coming up through Kampsa, as that is a very, very tricky corner in these GT3 machines. You've got to feather the throttle just right to get it nailed.
Indeed, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some big offs there at some point. But of course, we want to mention our sponsors here real quick, which of course includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. As well as Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. And finally, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Championship has been thrown for a loop as Travis Brown is back on top without Tom Layton there last round. He has unfortunately slipped to 3rd, but he's been looking quick today. He could regain that points lead as he's only 14 behind. It'll depend on what kind of day we see out of Brown and Johnson. Now, Corey Lotvilla is back in 4th, and then Doug Baccignone moves into the top 5, but he's starting to already look quite far behind. Some of those drivers far at the back probably have consigned themselves to not being in the hunt for the championship because we're seeing some significant gaps grow pretty quickly in the early stages of this season. What about for today's race details, DJ?
Well, Joe, we are back to one of the 30-minute sprint races here. Drivers currently on track for a 30-minute qualifying session. And as you said earlier, it is round 6 of 25 in this year-long series. All drivers this year are going to be driving in that Porsche 911 GT3R machine for this 30-minute race. And it is an open setup out there, but this is a very opening and welcoming community. And so I anticipate a lot of these drivers sharing some of the best setups with one another.
Absolutely. And Tom Layton, let's hope that he's going to be sharing his setup because he has the provisional pole currently. It's half a second over Travis Brown. So it's a monstrous gap for only a minute 40-some lap around here. Travis is going to have to find something special. Recently, though, Michael Johnson jumped up. He was down in 5th, which wasn't too bad, but he's gotten into 3rd. And he is going to try and continue to hound those 2 as he's been hanging around and leading the points at times, but doesn't seem to be quite as quick as the likes of Tom and Travis during much of the season. So he's going to have to be pretty cunning to really take the fight to the championship.
Yeah, indeed he is. We'll have to see how that shakes out for him. We currently watch Travis Brown as he works his way up through that tricky corner of Kampsa that I talked about. Very, very difficult to get absolutely right. That's Michael Robon traveling in behind him. He's going to pick up a little bit of the aero wash coming through some of the faster corners, and that's something else that we will be talking about, specifically in Sector 1 around this circuit. That aero wash is going to be very, very crucial, and it's going to be very, very tricky to follow.
I think Michael in the 929 is on a pretty quick lap here. It looks like at times he's almost half a second up on his best. So we might see him jump off of 16th, but it looks like he had a bad run through the final chicane as we watch Travis Brown try and improve. I don't think he's going to be able to go quicker this time. Nope, looks like he crosses, and that's not a faster lap, but a 45.6 is about 3/10 quicker for Robin. Unfortunately, no, he stays in 16th, so he was far enough back from Mayorga that he's going to have to try again.
Yeah, and we've seen some bad luck here recently for Robin, so he'll be hoping to bounce back a little bit more as we jump our way through the field a little bit. That is the number 11 machine of Mark Rondeau. Rondeau currently trying to see what he can do and improve on a 11th place.
Yeah, Shulam just in front of him. Shulam doesn't go quicker. Rondeau has his lap deleted. He must have had an off track. Newton as well behind them, not able to improve. This is pretty late in the qualifying session. Final 6 minutes of a half an hour that they're given. That means at this point, it's going to be small margins for most of them for what we can see them try to gain. It is pretty good at track conditions, though, at about 78 Fahrenheit. So they're not dealing with a slippery track. 26 Celsius for those curious on metric terms, but it's going to be difficult to try and improve at this stage as we watch coming down into the line. That's going to be Ost, and he gets that lap deleted. He's had a single lap count, and that single lap has put him into fourth, but he can't seem to match it with a clean one since then.
Well, it is pretty easy to pick up an off track around here. This being a Formula One style circuit, plenty of paved runoff around the track. Very easy to run wide, especially coming up here through Renault. You can just let that car drift out a hair too long and let it get that off track as you then try to dive in through Repsol.
Yeah. And so far, his lap is actually looking pretty good here. So he's just going to keep it clean. And I'm watching Michael Bolton, who might be improving. Nope, that was an out lap, excuse me, for him. So that's not going to be a better lap. And checking down through the field, a lot of the drivers coming up are looking like they're on slow ones. So not sure we're going to see anybody switch around. And Ost, as we follow him, is still in the fourth position. Little wide there. I think that one shouldn't have been discounted. I think that's still within the boundaries. So the 73 down through Lakaja. Let's see if he can keep this up. He's about a 10th up on his best time. Also looks like just behind him, Jacob Abrams in the 728 might be able to improve this lap.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Just those infinitesimal gains, if you can make to be able to gain a single position around here, Joe, that is going to be absolutely crucial. Track position is going to be king through this 30-minute race. So the closer towards the pointy end of the field you can be, the better off you will be at the start. We watch the Californian here coming out of New Holland, that final corner, and he is going to be able to improve, and that's going to bump him up to a P2.
And he gained most of his time in that last chicane. He launched off of there, and that gained him about 3/10 by itself. Jacob Abrams, though, crosses the line, and it looks like that one does not count, unfortunately. Lap was deleted. Travis Brown not on a flying lap. He's got just a couple more tries at this to not only now beat Tom Layton, but Michael Ost, and there's only 17 hundredths between them. So it is going to be tiny margins to get back on the front row.
Yeah, very, very small stuff there. So we're going to have to see what he's able to do. Brown looks like he was unable to improve on that last lap, but he'll get probably 2 more woed up before the checkered flag ends. Maybe 3, depending on how quickly he's able to get around there. Looking back at the number 9, Michael W. Johnson in a different livery out this week, trying to see if he can improve there from his 4th place.
Watching Jad Duncan, just shy of his best lap by about a 10th, so that's not going to be good for him. And Bolton on a slow one. Got anybody else who looks like they are flying right now? Trying to see. And not many drivers are on a good lap. Wonder if they're just trying to set up one last time for that last good go. Baccignona here, he might be up by about a 10th. Let's see, 144, 194 rather, stays as he does not improve that lap by, unfortunately.
No, he does not. As we continue to watch the 97 here of Tom Layton, seeing if he can improve on his 42.755 right now. He's got a little bit of lap traffic in front of him there in the forms of Jad Duncan, I believe. So that could slow him down a little bit through some of the twistier bits on this circuit.
Yeah, obviously they're not hugely aero dependent, as somebody has an off. I think that may have been Duncan that we saw there at the side of the track for a moment. But you don't want to get too close to that car behind. Maybe down the front stretch, you might want to pull a little bit of a slipstream. Bolton is certainly going to try and use it to his advantage. And Roban's actually doing pretty good. He's about 10th or 2 up on his best lap in this qualifying session. He still sits in 16th. We saw him improve down to a 45.6. He still needs to make up, looks like, wow, actually almost a full second to reach Sam Mayorga in 15th. So I don't think this is going to do it, though it will be another minor improvement on his lap time.
And that'll be just a little bit of a confidence boost. Never mind, as that's Roban having a little bit of a spin.
So that does it for his qualifying. I think he could come back around if he really wanted to try and complete one more lap. But that's it. That's all he'd have. And just kicking up a little bit of dirt there, our pole sitter, Tom Layton, down and across the line as the clouds come over. Does not go faster that time by Bolton as well. Not going to be able to improve.
It was about a 10th and a half off here as Michael W. Johnson following behind Paul Newton right now. He'll be hoping to get a little bit of that toe and maybe have him help out. There's a little bit of a run up to Repsol. He'll be able to gain a couple of tenths here. Looking at it right now, Michael was pretty quick on his last lap, in his last first sector. So very, very good stuff there for him.
The thing that has got to be frustrating for everybody else, though, is that Layton's last lap still would have been good enough for pole, and he was 0.2 off of his quickest. So he's now had 2 laps that are faster than anything anybody else has put down.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit disheartening there for him as they go around. Ooh, it looks like a scruffy second sector there from Michael W. Johnson. Let's see what it comes across as.
He's slowing
here. Yeah, that's not a good lap for him at all.
I think he's trying to back this up, cool the tires down a little bit. He's going to have to hurry, though. No, he's not going to be able to make it. He's got 10 seconds left. That's just a little too much. So this is going to be his last flying lap. In fact, the first one to take the checkered flag is going to be John Momeyer in the 20. He has put a lap down, and he's very close to those behind, but I think this is not a flyer for him. And indeed, yeah, that one is not counted. Johnson comes into the lane. Baccignone, who you just saw flash across the track, cannot finish his lap. Instead, this is Travis Brown, but he looks to be about 0.4 slow currently.
Yeah, and he lost the majority of that in Sector 2. It looks like Joey was right on pace there in Sector 1 and just had a bad second sector, so that is not going to treat him well at all. But he is going to try to see if he can maybe throw the car in here, get a good launch off of that final chicane. Maybe that can help him out a little bit.
Brown coming around, and he sits in 3rd place. He wants back on the front row, which he held for much of this qualifying session. Across the line, it doesn't count. Has it deleted. Sam Mayorga, though, we may want to watch this 183. Up by about 2 or 3 tenths at times, up by half a second on his best lap. And he's only got to make up 1/10 to go ahead of Carasay in the 19. So this could be an improvement.
Yeah, and he was green in the first sector, so a good run here from Mayorga. Just needs to absolutely maximize here in this final point as he dives its way down through Europe car and into the final chicane.
Looking pretty good. Not the best through there, but good enough. He's still about 2/10 up out of the final corner. Is this going to be it? He crosses the line. It's a 44.4, and he was 1/100th off of his best. So that won't do it, and that wraps up all of our qualifiers here today. Layton is still out there, but I believe he is not on a lap that will count as he has already taken the checkered flag. So let's go through our starting order here. Tom Layton has managed to get the pole by almost half a second over anybody else. Michael Ost will be the one to try and challenge him on the front row, as Travis Brown will start from third. Main rival so far this season for Tom Layton. Michael Johnson briefly held the points lead, only able to qualify fourth. He admits himself this is not his best strong suit in qualifying, so fourth place bodes well, as he could maybe try and challenge later in the race. Jacob Abrams will start from P5. You've got Corey Lotfula in the sixth position, another one of our top five in the points there. Matthew Sipek will be in P7, and Jad Duncan will start from eighth. Doug Baccignoni up into the top five in points, but only starting from ninth today, will be flanked by Paul Newton starting to his outside.
Mark Rondeau will be starting off in 11th, followed by Michael Bolton, with Mehmet Karasay and Sam Mayorga behind them. Jeffrey Shulam will be 15th, and flanking him will be Michael Robon, with row 9 being made up of Aaron Edwards and Dung Nguyen. Ting Nguyen will be 19th, and John Momeyer will round out your 20-car field.
So they get ready to go here, and they've just about got everybody gridded up for round 6. As I mentioned, we're into the thick of the season now. So if you haven't really made much in the way of points, then you're probably not in the hunt on this one unless something completely changes in your luck or your driving skill. And they're going to get a partial pace lap behind the pace car. So this is just before Lakaja. It'll wheel back around, and then they will take off and go for 30 minutes here today.
Yeah, indeed. And Joe, patience is going to be the absolute key around here. You have just got to wait for everything to play out and come into your hands. If you try to be a little bit too aggressive, especially through some of these longer corners, even with the low track temperatures, it can come back to bite you. It's very easy to overheat the tires around here. So just patience, patience, patience on this entire lap.
Absolutely. And there's no pit stops either, no scheduled ones, rather, we should say. They can come in to try and get some repairs or a spare car, as they do have a couple out there in case they get some damage. But otherwise, you really don't want to be wasting time visiting pit lane. 20 cars out there, but we have seen traffic affect this. I'm sure Tom Layton really knows that. So does Travis Brown, as Michael Johnson snuck away with the win at one point at Hockenheim due to traffic getting in the way of the leaders and actually taking them out. So, with not many places to escape around this twisty track, will that be something of a concern today? Up at the front, Tom Layton brings the 97 up to New Holland, and out of the final corner, he waits on it very patiently, stacking them up a bit. He's given it a long time before he goes, looking for the green flag, and there it is. Green flag is out, and it's a pretty good start for Michael Johnson. He's been getting very good at those, and he's looking for second place, trying to attack on Michael Ost, but Ost fades off to the left-hand side, giving him just enough room down to the first corner. Layton is going to be able to hold on to the lead. Ost holds on to second, and back and forth. Travis Brown still doing what he can to challenge. Oh, and he gets into the side of Johnson, who is going to spin in front of the field, and they managed to avoid him miraculously.
Yeah, Doug Baccignoni there off into the grass, but Johnson able to recover there. Just a little bit of incidental contact in between the two drivers there. You hate to see that.
Almost a Grosjean moment with the entire field barreling down on him. And thankfully, everybody scattered with all the paved runoff when it was able to sneak through. But Layton and Ost are now way ahead of everybody by 2.5 seconds. Jacob Abrams having to disappear off to the side of the track means that he has got just basically no hope of catching up and has to hope for a mistake from Ost or Tom.
Yeah, exactly. But we've got a very fierce battle back for P4 with Mark Rondeau, Matthew Sipek, and Corey Lotfula. Oh, is Travis Brown around again?
Oh, Travis, another one of those that had to hold up as he was caught up trying to avoid the incident with that touch with Michael Johnson. So Brown with a big hit, unfortunately, and is down in 18th. So that's basically both the main rivals in the championship for Tom Layton out, well, not out, but very severely hampered in the first lap of the race.
And rest assured, Leighton is probably going to notice that based off of his relative, but he is not going to be focused on it. He has just got to try to focus in here about pulling away from Michael Ost. Ost, who is within that draft range, and is going to try to hold on to that as much as possible.
I believe it's down to about 10th position, where after that it's only 2 points each. So a win for Leighton if it's outside of the top 10. For Brown and Johnson, that means that Leighton will indeed be back to the points lead. But it's early days on this one. As look at this battle as Sipik trying to hold off Rondeau. Rondeau sneaks to the inside and through Repsol. Looks like he's got that one done, chopping off on Corey Lotfula. Sipik is not willing to let two of them go. Behind them, Lotfula contact with Jad Duncan. And Bolton is going to be able to barely sneak through, but multiple cars piling in.
Ooh, a very scruffy start to the race here. A lot of these drivers squabbling for scraps here as they go around. Little bit of a look to the inside there as they go down into Verth, but everybody able to hang it out right now.
The one this is helping is Michael Johnson, as drivers are actually coming back to him or wrecking out, so he's going to start picking up positions here. Look at this midfield. My goodness, it is an absolute train as we hop on board with Michael, and he's got a buffet in front of him.
And indeed, he does, directly behind Lotfula right now. Edwards, Momeyer, Duncan, the next couple of cars. He's just got to be patient here. He doesn't want to bite off more than he can chew to continue that analogy out and be a little bit cautious in overtaking.
Well, he says screw that. He's going to try and go around the outside of Europe car. That would have been impressive. Doesn't quite work out. Corey Lotfula as, into the pits goes Jad Duncan. So he must have gotten too much damage from that contact. Meanwhile, onto the front stretch, Lotfula chased by Johnson. Let's see if any of them change his hands down into the first corner. Not seeing anybody making a move into Elf in amidst the rest of that group. And yeah, despite having the slipstream, Lotfula is going to be able to retain that 15th spot. Whoa, great exit. He's going to attack on Edwards. Edwards pulls off to the left-hand side and lets him through.
Indeed, almost a little bit of argy-bargy there in between the two, as that's also going to allow Michael W. Johnson to get up on by. Now he's going to have maybe a little bit of a thought about going into Repsol, but he's going to let Lotfula be for now.
That's one more spot. That's up to 15th. Where is Travis Brown? Brown's way far back from there. He's still in 17th. He's got a lot more work to do. Oh, man, 79 not having a good one here. And that is after the win that he had at Zandvoort. So seems to be feast or famine for him so far. Look at this. This is Momeyer and Lotfula, though. Momeyer getting overtaken. And now Johnson wants to try and take advantage of that. But Momeyer bucks back and will not let him through Campsa.
Good defense there from Momeyer. He knew that there wasn't really going to be a way there and tried to just back up the corner a little bit, pushing Michael W. Johnson back into him. Not the best exit there, though, through Lakaja, and that's going to allow for Johnson through.
That's 14th spot now. And it's Corey Lotfula stretching away, though. Corey made a little bit better work through all that traffic than Michael Johnson. And he's trying to chase down Karasay, who's in a battle with Robin in front of him. That's for 11th position. Onto the main straight now. This is a good run here from Mehmet, so the 19 might be able to have a chance at it into Elf.
He's going to certainly think about it in there. You can see Robin certainly trying to fade a little bit, but Karasay is going to go to the inside, try to be the later breaker here as they go down into the corner, but Robin just more confident in the car, able to brake later and get up on by.
Nicely done. So as the drivers continue on, a little bit wide there, but that is fair game there for Karasay as he's trying to chase back down Robin and wants to get back up to him, but he's pushing hard. In fact, way hard is into Repsol. He is wide. So Lotfula is going to start to gain once again, braking into Sayat. I think that Lotfula has an easy one on his hands here in a moment.
He very well might. Karasay looks a little bit offline there as they go down into Verth. We saw Lotfula on that last lap be willing to throw a big move there. Don't try this up through Campsa, and indeed he's just going to stick behind, but he's going to lose a little bit of time there in the aero wash. He's now going to have to make this move going down into Lakaja.
Looks a little too far back for me. There is chances to pass into there, but nothing doing for the time being. And they're both catching up to Robban once again. Oh, look at how strong he is coming out of Lakaja. Latvala actually almost seems like he's being held up slightly at this point.
Yeah, I think he is, and Rondeau also kind of contributing to that as well, with Karasay not able to get by him. We'll have to see what the launch is like here out of that final chicane. See Latvala trying to take that car a little bit wider there on the exit of the chicane. That's just trying to carry as much momentum as he possibly can.
And it looks like Karasay's got the best run of the three. He's going to look to the inside. Last time, Robban managed to outbrake him. Here comes Latvala as well. He might be able to go by. Will it be 2 spots down in 1 corner? Oh, both of them off the track. That might be a slowdown penalty. And indeed, Mehmet has got a slowdown, but he parks himself at the apex. And Latvala not able to get through. Karasay has not fully served it yet. He's not giving it up. If he doesn't soon, he's going to get a drive-through penalty.
He's got to be careful about that, but they do have about 35 seconds to give that away. So if he's able to just bleed that time over the time frame, maybe able to do it. Good move there going down into Sayat as we've got somebody off in front. That's Mayorga.
Mayorga going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4 positions right here with that off. And I think there was even more. Yeah, because he was in a side-by-side battle with Bacignone and Jeffrey Shulam, unfortunately, when that went south. So that's a very costly error through Sayat for him.
Yes, indeed it is. Now, Karasay is going to have to play defense here on Michael Robban with Michael Johnson trying to get that move going down into Lakaja. Who's it going to be off of the line? It looks like Johnson's got the better approach, and indeed he's got it.
All the way up to 12th already, and we're on lap 5. This has been a great recovery from himself and Latvala. Corey up to P10 here. So now he starts gaining more and more points from this point onward, and he's still got 21 minutes left to go. We're only a third of the way through this race.
Yeah, indeed. It just goes to show you here how experienced these two drivers are and just how much they can push. Latvala trying to stretch his legs a little bit. He's going to have Doug Bacignone ahead of him. For Michael W. Johnson, though, he's got to close in on the back of Mehmet Karasay. Looks like we've got a little bit of a battle in the back there. That's Mayorga and Robban going down into the first corner.
Mayorga wants to get this one back, but, oh, and there's contact. Robban gets spun around. He gets it to a halt before he hits anything, but he falls back to 15th. Boy, things have been rough today.
Yeah, they really have, Joe, and it's just kind of the nature of Barcelona. You're fighting for relatively the same line around all of these corners. It's not a place where you can take multiple lines going in, so it really puts that track position at an absolute premium.
We've jumped up to P4. This is Rondeau and Sipek. Matthew has been trying his darndest to get by here, but can't seem to find an opening. That's also Michael Bolton just behind them. Oh, way off, way off. Well, I think we saw Matthew do that in qualifying as well, and he hasn't learned his lesson. There goes Michael Bolton through. He's up to P5. That is a 7-position gain for not just Bolton, but Rondeau.
Yeah, that's really impressive stuff there from the both of them. Obviously, attrition is coming into play with that, with Brown, Duncan, and Latvala and Johnson all having to serve those penalties coming back through the field, but still very, very impressive stuff from the two of them.
Indeed, and Sipek now behind Michael Bolton. He lost that one spot. He has a chance to try and redeem himself, get back on the horse, and see if he can repass that 911 GT3R. But as they fly down the front stretch, doesn't look like any of them are quite close enough. That was for 4th position initially, but that is definitely separated, and the podium ahead of them all apart by about 5 or 6 seconds. It's Leighton, Ost, Abrams in that order currently at the front of the field.
Yeah, they're all kind of running into an island unto themselves here as they continue to go around there. You could just see Abrams ahead of Mark Rondeau in this little battle that we're following. Jacob doing a pretty good job here to hold on to it. He's up 2 positions on the day, taking advantage of the other's misfortune.
Down into Sayat once again. No 3 wide amongst these guys. They're going to stay in order. Newton having a pretty decent day today, up by 3. He's one that we've been wanting to see back into the thick of things. And in recent races, he's been doing pretty good, but he's got to have to try and do a little better than a 7th place here, and he does have some chances if he sees more mistakes out of those in front of him.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. We still have over halfway to go in this race, and the tires are going to get a little bit slipperier. They're going to get a little bit more worn in, and that means it's just going to be easier and easier to make a mistake around here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And so I think these drivers have got to be on their toes, make sure they don't make any of those little minor errors that can send you off into the kitty litter.
Indeed, so far, best finish this season for Newton was a 5th place at the Enduro at Road Atlanta. So, and just double checking on the points here. Yeah, it is from 10th place up where you start gaining points, and it's not just 2 all the way down. So watch for the drivers, Latvala and Johnson, who are desperately trying to keep Tom Layton from getting the points lead back at this round, after they had a horrible start. And it wasn't looking bad when they qualified, but by the time they came around for the first lap to be done, they were both at the very back of the field.
Well, the good news for Corey Latvala is he's been able to catch up to the back of Doug Boccignoni a little bit. He's got that gap down to just under a second. Meanwhile, Michael W. Johnson able to be within 0.5 of a second of Mehmet Karasay. So definitely some action still to come, but this is one of the most intriguing battles on the track. Rondeau, Bolton, and Sipik still.
This is down into vert. A very single file corner there. And it does look like they're closing together. Bolton was a lot farther back earlier on. Oh, but look at this run out of Sipek. That was the corner where he had trouble and gave it up. Will he be able to use it to try and get it back? There's a defense from Bolton down to the inside of Lakaija. Cut back potentially from the number 6, and the answer's a no.
Yeah, very hard to get that cut back there, especially when you're as heads up there as Michael Bolton. That's a little bit of a look to the inside, coming through Bank de Semedel.
Matthews hungry for this one. He wants to get back into that top 5. If he gets a good exit out of the chicane, this could be on the cards. Oh, he goes a little deep on the first half, compromises the second one, and away skitters the 127.
Yeah, it's going to separate things out there just a little bit, although it will be some good news to Paul Newton, only 1.2 seconds behind now, so he's going to hope to get a little bit of a whiff of the draft on these longer straights.
Right now, this has been looking like a very good day for the likes of Abrams, Rondeau, and a few others, inheriting plenty of these positions from the problems of others. But Leighton and Ost, who qualified in first and second, sit exactly where they began and are just using it to have a nice, comfortable Monday evening drive. And look at how close that Bolton is starting to look to the back of Rondeau. He's dropped the likes of Sipek now after he was so threatening last lap, and has gone from defense to attack as he nearly gets to the back of the 11.
Oh, and I was about to say there, Joe, the big thing here for Michael Bolton is to not be too aggressive, to not bite off more than he can chew. He just needs to wait until he gets that high percentage opportunity to make the attack, and taking a little bit too much speed there into Sayat cost him, as you can see.
Oh, and Mark Rondeau, a little far off in Kamsa, gives up both spots. He catches it before he hits the wall. The car is whole. That's the important thing, but he's got some work to do, and he might get it back right here, as there goes Sipek wide down through Lakaija. So Bolton now is up into 4th place. Sipek gets one. Rondeau down to 6th.
All right, everything moving around here just a little bit more as they continue to go. This battle, though, not looking like it's going away anytime soon. Everybody very, very close to one another.
Still have all cars on the lead lap, but that might not be for long. Jad Duncan looks like he might be caught by Leighton before this is done with, but otherwise should be some light traffic. At this stage, Michael Bolton is now our hardest charger, up 8 positions with what he gained there on that mistake from Rondeau. Nobody else has been able to get that many so far in this race, and starting to look like Sipek has lost touch of Bolton. He hasn't been on the back of him for a couple laps now, and Rondeau could be hungry to try and re-attack and get at least one of those lost spots back.
Indeed, he might be able to. By the way, Michael W. Johnson just able to get by Mehmet Karasay with a nice move coming up through Renault.
So that's 11th now for Johnson, and up next is Latvala, so he's going to try and catch back up, see if he can follow him through. Actually, it's been a close battle in front of Latvala. Looks like Bacignone and Shulam are having to tussle for 8th position, which will work out great for Corey Latvala if he can see them start to go wheel to wheel.
Yeah, exactly. You read my mind on that one, Joe. There's Bacignone in that bright green machine in the middle of this sandwich here. Ooh, a little bit of a wide run there for Corey Latvala. You can tell he is pushing, trying to maximize the speed up through that ever-tricky Kempsa corner.
Oh, a little bit deep there for Doug. And that bright green 59 doesn't give it up yet, but he certainly opens the door pretty wide and just about pushing him through the corner. The red 22. Is he going to wait? No, he wants to try it here in Europe car. He's actually going to get to the inside as Bacignone gives him space. It switches back, and they're going to lose a bunch of time here. Away goes Shulam. The pass is not done, and that actually compromised Latvala a little bit. I think he needed some of that patience.
I think he did too, and they've got to be careful. Michael W. Johnson now only about 1.6 seconds behind, and we've seen what that car can do when it is unfettered and able to run in free air. And it looks like Latvala here, massive cost going through the final chicane as he is not able to get the move done on Doug Bacignone going down into 11th.
Instead of 2 that he could possibly gobble up, now he's only got 1 on his plate. As I think there was a pass between Travis Brown and Sam Mayorga. Haven't been following Travis Brown, our current points leader, all that much. He's only to 13th. He's having a heck of a time compared to Johnson and Latvala.
Yeah, he certainly is. Here's a little bit. Is that lap? That's lap cars that Brown is getting by.
Nope, that's Mayorga, actually. That's for position. Mayorga was just overtaken. Oh, and he thinks he wants it back, but that was a little deep into the corner. Thankfully, does not make contact, and maybe this will allow Travis to get to safety away from a somewhat erratic number 183.
Yeah, he's able to pull out a little bit of a gap there to the tune of about 7.5 tenths of a second. So that'll be enough breathing room for Travis Brown to be able to start to try to stretch his legs a little bit. He's still got a lot of work to do, though, about 3 seconds up the road to Doug Bacignone.
Oh, and yeah, Bacignone is now side by side, and to the inside coming through Box Sabadell. Deep goes Doug, and through goes Corey. That's going to put him into 9th.
Oh, thought about a little bit of a fight back there, Doug, but he's not able to get it done, and so now Corey Latvala able to finally get that move done, and he'll set his sights on Jeffrey Shulam.
And Michael Johnson was too far back to try and take advantage of what was happening there. So Latvala gets through without setting up Michael W. Johnson. Bacignone gets some time to breathe, recollect himself. He knows he's going to have another fight on his hands, assuredly, with Michael being a little bit quicker consistently this season than him, as he slides it down through the first corner, kicking up some dust. And certainly looks like they are hustling these things. I was keeping half an eye on Bolton and Sipek. They were close for a moment, but they spread apart once again. That battle for 4th has been yo-yoing back and forth.
Yeah, indeed it has. It's at about 5 tenths of a second right now, which is a little bit more than Michael W. Johnson has to be able to gain back in. There you see it on your screen. Bolton just trying to get a gap over Sipek, but Sipek not going away.
Sipek up 2. Like to make that 3, bring Bolton down a peg. They've got less than 10 minutes left to go, so we're into the final stage of this race. Don't need to go to it, but John Momeyer has been having lots of struggles out there today. He's spun multiple times, just recovered from another one. Looks like the car is still whole, so I don't think he's hit much. And just unfortunately finding this track a little too difficult for him. Meanwhile, look at the ground that Sipek has once again gained. It's down to 3 tenths of a second, although it goes deep down through Europe car. If he can just set himself up off the chicane, no, wheel spin denies him.
Yeah, that car looking a little bit squirrely there. I wonder if he used up a little bit too much of his stuff there trying to make that move earlier. That car not looking exactly perfect. Oh, Bacignoni's made an error, and Michael W. Johnson on through.
That's coming out of the chicane and almost spun it into the pit entry. He's going to be able to get back around and rolling. didn't hit anything, so yeah, he's okay, but he falls all the way down into 16th after that as he casually returns to the circuit. So that puts Johnson up into 10th. Now he's able to start gaining some points from here. Latvala back in front of him once again. Corey sizing up Jeffrey Shulam. Shulam's pace, let's see, 45.6, 45.7. Latvala, a 44.8 last time by. Oh yeah, he's going to be there in a moment.
Yes, he is. He is definitely pushing here and there. You can see just how close it is on your screen.
There's the lap difference. Some of those a bit odd because he had to make some passes in there and had some hard racing. But when he's clear, Latvala is an absolute rocket ship today as he bounds over the curb coming out of vert. Got to be careful of that. Doesn't want to lose this car after all the hard work that he's done. And Sipik is side by side. Bolton cannot hold him back. Matthew back into P3.
A great move from there. He was just able to carry more momentum coming through Kamsa and be able to get that move done down into Lakaja. A great attack from Matthew Sipik.
So P4 there for Matthew now as he takes that 6 up into just outside of the podium, but he's a full 5.5 seconds from Jacob Abrams. Not sure that he's going to be able to spray the champagne today. And he's weaving back and forth. He doesn't like how close Bolton is.
No, he does not. Stops the weaving as they start to get down into the braking zone. You see a little bit of weaving there from Bolton, just trying to fill those rear view mirrors. A little bit of a later apex there from Bolton, but he's checked up on the second part of Elf.
Oh, he's offline now. This could give Bolton a bit of a chance to try and fight back. I also see Latvala and Shulam all together. In fact, you'll see them in the background maybe there a little bit. Nope, we switch shots. There they are. And defense from Shulam. He doesn't like the looks of this. No wonder. Round the outside, outbreaking him, Corey Latvala. That was phenomenal.
And he's not done yet. He tries to go around the outside here of Sayat. That's going to be a hard line. Almost contact between the two. Definite contact there. That's Latvala off into the kitty litter, and he's got to recover it.
Shulam's not taking this one laying down. He says, if you want to pass me, you got to work hard for that one, as he elbows him off the track coming from Sayat. So we got two very fierce battles happening, one for P4, one for P8.
Indeed, Joe. Very, very intense stuff here as they continue to go down. A little bit of an earlier run into the corner there for Shulam. He's able to hold it off well, though.
Back through Bonk Sabadell. He was caught quickly by the 22, but I tell you what, he's making a race out of it. I thought this was being much easier from Corey, especially with how quickly he outbraked him into a couple corners. If Corey gets the inside line anywhere, though, I think he's going to be off and gone.
I got to agree with you there, Joe, as it looks like he's not able to get the perfect run. A little bit of weaving there from Shulam, just pulling that car into the middle of the track, keeping his defensive lines open if he wants them.
Corey can't dilly-dally here because Johnson's been trying to play catch-up on him. And so far, it's been better in the hands of Latvala, who does get to the inside just barely, but he's not able to make the pass. And the more he messes about with Jeffrey Shulam, the more time that is being chopped off by the 9 car.
Indeed, that gap now hovering at about 1 second now, and so that Ukrainian liveried machine going to be coming on strong here.
Still held up here into Repsol. Latvala cannot find a way past. I got to give credit to Jeff. Oh, he breaks early. I think he was put off a bit by the slow John Momeyer down to the inside, and that was all Latvala needed. He's done with him.
Exactly, and already able to pull about a 0.6 of a second advantage is Corey Latvala. Watch him streak off into the distance, but Shulam not done as he's now got Michael W. Johnson all over his rear wing.
I think Johnson's got to make this one decisive. He gains a lot coming through Kamsa. Almost looks like it scared him for a bit as the car wobbled through that right-hander, and that sets him farther behind Shulam for a brief moment. Tries to open up the corner a little bit, and Shulam's still in 9th, but he is struggling. I think he's been shaken by this fight.
I think he has indeed, able to cut off the apex there, going down into Banc Sabadell as they break into Europe car here. Michael making sure to try to back up this final chicane a little bit. He doesn't want to be too close here. You want to just get the perfect run off the corner. Oh my goodness, that's Rondeau around.
Rondeau, oh, and that slows up Schulem. A brave move around the outside from Johnson, not willing to lift. He sneaks by with a little bit of a side swipe, and that's just before Travis Brown shows up as well. Where did he come from?
He's been slowly working his way up through the field. I wouldn't have expected it there. Brown maybe thinking about a 2-for-1.
Wow, great heads up by Johnson, who sees him coming and gives him space, and great braking by Travis Brown. I didn't think there was any way that he managed to get side by side.
Nor did I, but he runs wide there, and that's going to open up the door back for Jeffrey Schulem.
Wheel to wheel, fighting for the 9th position, and it looks like Schulem might have it. Travis Brown cutting back underneath. He's going to fight back on Jeffrey, who's had his hands full for just about the last 5 laps in its entirety, and unfortunately, once again, he is snookered around the outside of Seat.
Wow, an incredible couple of corners there, and good heads up from Jeffrey Schulem to be able to make sure all those passes get off without having any incidents here. But he's not done. Now he's got Mark Rondeau to deal with behind him.
By the way, 2 laps to go. Leighton just crossed the start-finish line with about 2 minutes on the clock. Meanwhile, this is up through Banc Sabadell, Sipik, and Bolton. Bolton in 5th, Sipik in 4th. Rondeau behind them before has given up positions to all those that were chasing with a handy little, oh, that was a lot of curb. That was a big slide there for Matthew, and I'm shocked that Bolton wasn't able to take more advantage of it.
I think Joe Bolton did the exact same thing. He just took a big chunk of the curb out there, and so that was what hit him. Thinking about maybe having a little bit of a move here, but not able to do it now. Late braking, going down. Could this be a run on the outside?
Matt defends. Oh, they're going to bang doors, and just says, out of my way. There goes Michael Bolton up into 4th. Matthew Sipek could not contain him anymore.
No, he could not. And so Bolton with a great run there to be able to prove his worth and get on by. He's going to just have to hold out here for about a lap and a half more, though.
And Michael Johnson, with all his battling to move forward, is now having to switch gears and play defense because Travis Brown is all over the back of him, trying to decide who takes 8th place. They've lost touch with Corey Lotvla, so I'm not thinking it's likely that they'll be able to get much more unless somebody in front of them also has an issue.
Well, the way this race has been going, Joe, I'm not going to count anything out until we see the drop of the checkered flag. Every twist and turn you can imagine has been thrown at us here.
Well, we'll partway through to checkers because it's a white flag for Tom Leighton now as he crosses the line. 1 to go, and he's got a massive 15-second lead over Oast. This has been under his control from the word go.
Indeed, it has. A fantastic run there and a good run here from Oast as well, who's got a 12-second advantage over Jacob Abrams. So let's not count that out as we continue to focus back, though, on that battle between Michael W. Johnson and Travis Brown.
It's been such hard work for both of these guys. I don't know who wants it more, Travis or Michael. And they come down into the chicane. This is going to be one of the best chances here for Travis. He's got to get a good launch, but look at the traction from the 9 car. He just streaks away.
Yeah, that is all just setting up that corner, Joe. He knows exactly what he needs to do in that car and is really, really good about getting that power down. That may just save him here.
Travis was good on the brakes last time. He's good on them again, but he's not close enough. So that's not going to be a pass that time as we get a side-by-side down into the first corner. Carasay getting past Rondeau. That's for 11th.
Yeah, and Rondeau's got some left front damage on that Porsche, and that's partially what's slowing him down a little bit more. Thinking about maybe having a little bit of a fight back, though.
And I think he might have it. He's got the inside coming into Repsol, and that's job done. He is through. Meanwhile, we got to go to Tom Leighton because he's got just a couple more corners to go down through the final chicane. It's been an impressive race, a return from Tom Leighton, looking like he never left as he wins his 3rd race of the season here at Barcelona.
Absolutely commanding drive from Leighton. Exactly what we've come to expect here from the driver of the 97. And this should see him return to the top of the championship standings.
Ooh, Johnson under attack from Travis Brown. And as deep as he dove it in, he could not get the traction off the corner. Fair play to both of them. I thought he was going to run into the side of the 9.
I did too, Joe, but heads up driving there from 2 experienced drivers to prevent that from happening. Brown now only has a couple of corners to go to try anything.
Well, he is going to try anything. He's going to get into the side. He parks it. He lets him go through, but unfortunately that lets another car by. That's Schulem getting both spots. Oh, no. That move backfired, and Schulem will get 7th as Johnson has to settle for P9, and Schulem is 8th, excuse me. And Brown falls back to 10th. So there was some valuable points potentially later in the season stolen from both of them. That's going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. So stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in enduro series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Barcelona here for round 6 of the Porsche Owners Club Series. With this race done, Tom Leighton gets his 3rd win of the season. He is starting to look like he is going to be a force as he not only out-qualified everybody by half a second, he raced to a 16-second gap by the last lap. Michael Ost followed him distantly back in P2, and Jacob Abrams was P3. You've got Michael Bolton, who went from 12th to 4th. He never gave up on that one. He beat Matthew Sipek, who made him work for it, to that 4th position. Sipek 5th with Newton in P6. Great finish for him. 2nd best finish of the season for him. Corey Lotfula was able to get back to 7th after a problem at the start of this race, and I guess that's not too bad of damage limitation, but certainly was hoping for more in the points, no doubt. Jeffrey Schulem sneaks into 8th from 15th with 2 spots in the last corner. Michael Johnson unfortunately tipped back around into 9th place from Travis Brown, who finished 10th and ran into him in the last chicane, DJ.
Mark Rondeau had to settle for 11th on the day with Mehmet Karasay and Sam Mayorga behind him. Aaron Edwards was 14th with Michael Raban in 15th. Doug Baccignoni 16th and Doug Nguyen and Ting Wan rounding out your drivers to finish on the lead lap. Jad Duncan was 1 lap down. John Momeyer 2 laps down.
That brings us to Tom Leighton, our winner here today. And as I mentioned, his 3rd victory so far on the season in that number 97 machine. Tom, congratulations. This one really didn't look in doubt, especially since a couple of your main rivals seem to have problems from the get-go.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I saw that in my rearview mirror, and I definitely think if that wouldn't have happened, it would have been probably a different race. I saw Travis's fastest lap time. I think was almost exactly the same as mine. So unfortunate for them, but hey, I'll take what I can get.
Indeed, I'm sure 3 out of the first 6 is a pretty good start to things. A 50% strike rate for victories is a good sign, but it's a long season, and I mentioned at the top of the show that consistency will play a part in that. We know you had to miss last time out. Or do you have any others coming up that you might have to get a 0 for just because of lack of attendance?
I think I've scheduled my vacations just right so far. But yeah, I missed last week because I was in Mexico. And then, yeah, there's one scheduled for like the day after Christmas that I'll probably miss. But other than that, I should be here, I think.
Well, we'll cross our fingers for the best. And out of today's win, is there anybody that helped make it happen?
Yeah, just like as usual, like to thank FR Sport for their support. I've had fun autocrossing their car over the weekend, and yeah, just thank you guys for the good commentary and everything, and the league.
That was Tom Layton, your victor here today at Barcelona. As DJ's now caught up with Michael Ost, who came home second with, I'm not sure if he had much to talk about, frankly.
Yeah, indeed, Michael. It looked like a pretty quiet race there out for you once the green flag fell.
You know, I mean, Tom put down a great and awesome qualifying lap, and then you know, we started the race, and you know, he had really good pace. I saw everybody fall off behind us a little bit. Something must have happened, and so I decided to, you know, to run a real smooth race. And you know, actually, Tom ended up putting himself on a little island. I ended up putting myself on a little island, and yeah, I guess we just had the quiet bliss, right?
Indeed, you did. But how do you, as a driver, sort of keep your focus in those points when you're driving around like that? It's got to get a little monotonous, almost just like you're hot lapping around here or something.
It is. But you know, I came into this race with the understanding that I wasn't going to destroy myself. I have a bad habit of sometimes I'll come in there and I'll just try to run. I'll try to hot lap it. I'll just try to start beating my best time, and you know, and then I'll wreck or I'll go off the track or I'll get too many X's. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to run a good solid race. I also added some more downforce before the race compared to my qualifying setup. And it slowed down the car, made it a little bit pushy, but, you know, the car was stable. So I was able to drive it the whole race and just stay in the race. And I decided, you know, second place is not bad. I'm happy.
Indeed, I'd be happy too. But speaking of a stable car, that is certainly what you're going to be needing next time out, because we head to Detroit. Always one of the most challenging circuits on the calendar. I think that, oh boy, tells me how you're feeling about it.
Oh, yeah. Walls everywhere, right? You know, if I remember the track right, there's walls everywhere, right? Every time you make a turn and make an apex, there's a wall on the outside. Is that right?
Yeah, it pretty much is.
Yeah. I mean, Detroit's fun, and those city courses are always fun. They have a lot of hard angles sometimes, and they have a unique surface textures, I guess you'll say. You know, bumps and weird places that you wouldn't expect it. But other than that, yeah, I mean, they're a lot of fun. They're a good time. You know, I enjoy the courses that have some runoff space in case I make a mistake. But, you know, I'll take with what I can get.
Well, today you're going to be taking home this P2, and that's got to feel good. But anybody you want to thank for it?
Yeah, I want to thank POC for putting on these races. I want to thank my family for, you know, putting up and let me have time to do this stuff. I want to congratulate Corey on finally getting a dog for his fiancée, so I don't have to hear about it anymore. You know, great things like that.
Well, fantastic. Michael, thank you so much, and congratulations once again.
Hey, thanks, guys. We thank you for putting it on.
That was Michael Ost, your second place finisher here today. And now, Joe, I believe you've caught up with Jacob Abrams.
Yeah, much like Layton and Ost, it was kind of a lonely race for the 728. So, Jacob, let's go to the start, where you had a front row seat to that incident that seemed to define it for much of the front of the pack. You narrowly escaped yourself. What was going through your mind as you ducked to the inside there?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I was far enough back from it that I actually had, you know, time to decide what to do. You know, should I go around the outside? Should I take the inside? And I decided to tap the brakes, downshift, and take the inside. And it, you know, made a little bit of contact, but got out okay. And was kind of glad to see everyone else got caught up in it. And I looked like I took the only clean path through. So got lucky there.
Absolutely. Well, after you got through that, though, you saw Michael and Tom pretty far down the road. They had already gapped about a second and a half in that one little incident. Did you kind of put your hands up and say, well, you know, I'm not going to be catching those guys. Let's just go for third? Or did you try and push as hard as you could to keep them honest?
No, as soon as I saw them so far down the road, you know, I knew that the only way to catch them would really be if they made a mistake, you know, or if I pushed so hard that I would risk my tires just overheating and going off. And I know the tires were going to get cooked on this track anyway, so I didn't want to kill them early on and then have nothing to work with at the end of the race. So I just decided to take it super easy for the next 17 laps and, you know, be really gentle on the tires and just sort of, you know, keep my third place and settle for it.
Second podium of the season, tying your best there with another third place. Any way that you can get higher up on the podium later on?
I need somebody to make a mistake. I don't know. I just haven't really been putting in, enough practice time to match the lap times that, Tom and some of the other guys are putting in. So, unless I have a couple weeks off of work, which isn't going to happen, just got to wait for some more first lap incidents, get lucky, and, maybe get the lead after turn one, maybe, and go from there.
Yeah, sometimes that's just what racing needs, is a little bit of luck. Congratulations regardless. Anybody you want to thank for today's third place finish?
I want to thank Works 2 Motorsport and, POC for putting this on, and you guys for doing the broadcast. So thanks again, guys.
It's Jacob Abrams, who got a podium today, starting from 5th on the grid. That is going to wrap us up, so we want to give a big thank you as well, starting with our sponsors. Porsche, there is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now for a great tasting tequila. Go to OctavioTequila.com and purchase today. And finally, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Thanks goes to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here. And additional thanks are to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Check out our merchandise store as well. It's gsrc.storenv.com, and there's a link in the description below for it. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because, as was mentioned, in 2 weeks' time, it is over to Detroit, Monday, April 4th at 11 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.